Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you the painting of this piece that I did using both gouache and watercolors. I've been wanting to include both of these mediums together for a long time, and while I was laying in bed the other night, does this happen to you? Okay, all day I was feeling super blocked and kind of drained of energy and not having a ton of ideas, but then as soon as I lay down in bed, my head is just filled with ideas of things I would like to paint or draw or create, and it's like, no, brain, stop, sleep, please. So I had that experience, and then the next day immediately wanted to sketch this. You know what, I think I actually stayed up way too late at night and sketched this and then wanted to paint it the next day. My idea was sort of this portrait idea with the head disappearing into clouds, which is not something I've drawn or painted a ton, clouds, but I love them and they're beautiful and I definitely wanted to give it a try. I was originally thinking about making a series out of this concept with different types of clouds in different sort of weather situations, like a clear blue sky and a portrait with a head in the clouds, and like a stormy gray blue sky with lightning. So I don't know, maybe I will still do that series. I definitely wanted to at least experiment with this first piece. Let me know if that would be something you guys are interested in seeing, like a longer, probably like a 3-painting series of this sort of concept. I know I've started like 18 different series on this channel, and let's see, like, do you guys remember the dot cards? That feels like so long ago, like when we hit 1,000 subscribers and I was doing the Daniel Smith dot cards. I know most of you haven't been around that long, but I was going to do one painting for each of the dot cards, and I didn't finish that series. There was one page, the last page, I didn't do that. And then we have our watercolor brand portrait series that's kind of ongoing. Definitely have not finished that one yet. And then there's also the series of my favorite XYZ sort of things. So I've done my favorite watercolor brands, my favorite brushes, and the next one's going to be my favorite papers. So there's lots of little ongoing projects going around and floating about in the creation space, but I think it's really fun to be able to jump around and work on different types of projects, and I really do have you guys to thank for that. Just the fact that I am able to explore creatively and just work on the things I want to work on, and I'm really grateful for that. So thank you guys for supporting me and giving me the opportunity to pursue art how I would like to pursue it, and it's kind of liberating, to be honest. So, oh man, this piece, I knew I wanted to have gouache for the figure and then watercolor for the clouds. I usually really stress myself out when it comes to working with gouache. I'm either too hesitant with laying down colors, or I just keep laying down colors over and over and over again, but I'm not actually making any progress, if that makes sense. And this one kind of falls a little bit more into that second category, where I just kept laying down colors, but I didn't really have a clear vision of where it was I wanted to get to. So it took more layers and more fiddling around than I wanted it to. I also reached a point where I had started to add yellow and then like a darker, more saturated pink onto the skin, and I didn't really like that. I felt like it kind of clashed with the colors I had laid down so far. So in the end, you'll see me going back to cover that up. Didn't really like it. Wasn't really happy with it. And that generally is how things go when I'm working with gouache. I haven't really nailed down a process for how I like to work with this particular medium, not like with watercolors. When I'm working with watercolors, I generally know the order that I want to do things in, where I want to start, how to progress, how to build up my values. It doesn't always go completely smoothly, but I know how I want to do things. I don't feel that way about gouache. I haven't really nailed down a process yet and an order in which I like to do things, so it's a lot more just kind of fiddling around like you've been seeing throughout the duration of this video, and just laying down one color and then another color and then over and over. And really my biggest focus, even more than color, is in values and in trying to get light areas and darker areas and in between things. So I didn't have a clear idea of how I wanted this piece to turn out, and I was fine with that. There will definitely be pieces that I spend more time on and work out the colors in a more precise way, but this wasn't really one of them. I wanted to just be messy and put down a ton of brushstrokes with my gouache and was hoping that it would come together, and overall I'm pretty happy with how this piece turned out. When it comes to hashing out ideas and actually turning an idea into a painting, I always struggle with how long I should spend on that creative process, that planning process. All of the steps that have to occur before you actually sit down and put the first patch of paint onto your paper or whatever surface you're painting on. Sometimes this can be just a matter of creating a sketch to paint, but oftentimes the process is much, much longer. There are a lot of reasons why this planning process can take longer than you might expect. For me, it usually starts with a concept. I have an idea of a subject I'd like to portray, or an emotion or a feeling or something that I would like to do, a story I might want to tell. And usually I have to experiment with composition, poses of a figure, or lighting and color combinations and all that sort of thing. And depending on how much I'm straying from something I normally paint, I often have to spend some time looking at references to get the right pose or the right angle for things. And that whole process can take anywhere from half an hour to 4 or 5 hours, and it can be a really long process of thumbnailing and sketching and trying to get the idea down. And then there's the actual process of creating a sketch that you can use for your painting. Now, sometimes I like to sketch directly onto my watercolor paper. To be honest, that's my favorite way to do it. It allows me to just feel like I'm jumping into something a little bit sooner instead of knowing that I'm creating something that isn't going to be the final thing. And in many cases, I've been doing that for a while already, and it wears me out mentally. And this one was definitely one of those quicker pieces. I didn't transfer this onto watercolor paper via a light box. I didn't even really do any thumbnail sketches ahead of time for this one. Not every piece is like that, but I definitely appreciate it when those things can happen. I really like these quicker pieces that don't require a lot of planning time. Although the planning can be useful and helpful and beneficial, usually I just end up getting to the point where it's time to start the painting and I'm completely drained and I don't want to work on the concept anymore. So I don't know. How do you maintain stamina for an idea, like after having spent 10 hours on it already and you haven't even started painting yet? I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on this whole idea of spending planning time versus jumping right into a concept. I will have this original piece up for sale in my Ticktail store, so you guys are welcome to check it out. No prints yet, because I am hopefully going to start making my own prints here sometime in the near future. Let me know what you think down below, and I will talk to you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!